Eagle 95.1 WUPN Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region and hear from coaches and players involved in The Game. Now, let's join Scott Nason at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for tonight's broadcast of The Game on Eagle 95.1.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm non-bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to The Game on this special edition, Tuesday night, March 6th, 2018. My name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from the studios of Eagle 95.1 on Ashman Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We are on a special Tuesday night edition because last night, the last couple Monday nights, as a matter of fact, we have had Brimley Bay's district basketball, and so we're doing a special edition here Tuesday night on Eagle 95.1 and also online at the podcast page of the game, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. We'll be joined in the next segment by Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, getting us up to date on the Metro Detroit sports scene. We'll also have a special edition of the Game Sports Show from Boston Pizza. Dave McKegg and his merry band of gentlemen will be talking a lot of hockey, and so we'll keep the sports content going, even though we're not at the Wicked Sister tonight. If Brimley does not make the regionals next week in boys basketball, and of course we certainly hope that they do, we'll be back at the Wicked Sister next Monday night. And if not, we'll do another special edition online next week. Let's get everyone up to date on the local sports scene. Going back to last week and into early this week, let's start with girls high school basketball as districts were last week. Last Monday night, of course, you heard the game on Eagle 95.1. The Rudyard Bulldogs defeated the Brimley Bays by the score of 55-43. Pickford over Detour 57-39. So both those teams advanced to the district final and semifinals. And, well, the Rudyard Bulldogs claimed the district, 124 in Class D, as they defeated Engadine by the score of 54-49. Lane Clegg with 21 points for the Bulldogs, while Sierra Molina had 17 as first-year coach Carlos Molina, earning his first district title in his first year. I had a chance to talk to Carlos yesterday in Engadine as he was there watching the Rudyard boys take on Brimley. We'll get to that in a moment, and really happy to see him have success. He's a good guy. He's put in a lot of time volunteering with the program. Finally got his shot, and, well, hey, he's got a district title to boot. And Rudyard is in action tonight. As a matter of fact, that one's set to start in about 30 minutes as the Rudyard Bulldogs will be taking on Gaylord St. Mary's in the regional semifinal, Class D in St. Ignace. Cedarville over Pickford last week in their semifinal, 57-42. Mackenzie Barr, 13 points for the Trojans. Caroline Friel, 21 points as Cedarville advances to the district final, where they would take on Maplewood Baptist. Maplewood Baptist won their first ever district game last Wednesday over Mackinac Island. And Sioux High in their district semifinal last week in Sioux High. Not actually inside the school, but inside Sioux High's gymnasium. They crushed Menominee by the score of 60-33. St. Ignace in their district semifinal, Oliver Newberry by the score of 72-25. So last Friday night, there were district finals all across the region. Cedarville claimed their first district since 2009 in girls basketball as they defeated Maplewood Baptist 57-37 to win the Class D District 123 championship in Cedarville. Caroline Friel, 13 points. Mackenzie Barr, 10 for the Trojans. Now they're in action as we speak, and they are way up on Harbor Light Christian. Last check, they were up by about 35 points in the second half. So Cedarville's going to advance to the regional final, which will be played Thursday in St. Ignace, and they will take on the winner of the game going on here in about a half hour in St. Ignace between Gaylord St. Mary's and the Rudyard Bulldogs. Sioux High wins their first district, I believe, in 8 or 9 years, as they defeated Escanaba on Friday night by the score of 62-48. Melina Robertson, and Mackenzie Kalchik with 12 points each for the Blue Devils. Now, the Blue Devils are in action as we speak down in Gaylord, taking on the number 1 team in the state in Class B, Kingsley. Don't think we're going to have a final before we go off the air, but good luck to the Blue Devils. They definitely have a very tall task tonight. And St. Ignace, will they cruise to another district title, their 10th in a row, as they topped Indian River Inland Lakes by the score of 75-10, and they're in action in their Class C regional semifinal right now as they are taking on Houghton in Escanaba, Iron River, West Iron County, and Ishpeming in the other side of that regional semifinal. Boys basketball last week, some regular season results. Brimley over Rudyard by the score of 47-24. Engadine over Mid-Penn, 75-53. Mackinac City over Detour, 59-38. All those games Tuesday of last week, and there were some also games on Thursday. Brimley ends their regular season 17-3 as they defeat Detour by the score of 76-38. Cedarville also ends their season 17-3 as they top Posen last Thursday in boys basketball by the score of 85-48. St. Ignace lost their final game of the regular season and ended the season 0-20. However, they would have better fortune in the postseason. We'll get to that in a moment, as they lost to East Jordan last Thursday by the score of 63-39, and Munising over Newberry by the score of 56-34. And Rudyard ended their regular season on Friday night with a loss to Hillman by the score of 70-42. So boys district play began last night in a game you heard right here on Eagle 95.1. Yours truly, along with my son Vance Nason, were in Engadine, as the Brimley Bays won their District 124 in Class D semifinal over the Rudyard Bulldogs by the score of 65-40. It was Marcus Harris leading the way for the Brimley Bays. He had 26 points, including 6 3-pointers, as the Bays win their district semifinal by 25 points. Harris also had 5 assists, as the Bays dished out 24 assists on the night. Brendan Shornack also had a solid game for Brimley. He had 16 points, and the Bays advanced to the district final. That one on Wednesday night. Tomorrow night on the Eagle, as they will take on the Eagles from Engadine, as they had no trouble in their district semifinal over Ojibwe Charter by the score of 61-38. So that sets the stage tomorrow night. Yours truly, along with Vance Nason and Don Supa, going to be joining us on the broadcast for the district final in Class D in boys basketball, District 124 in Engadine. We'll have the pregame show around 6:45, the opening tip at 7. Now, Engadine is not a pushover by any stretch. They ended the regular season 16-5. They did split with Brimley in the regular season. The Bays lost at Engadine. They did beat them up home. Also last year, Engadine knocked Brimley out of the postseason last year. So this Brimley team is looking good, and it is going to be a Donnybrook, as they would say in the WWE. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night to the broadcast. And if you want to hear last night's broadcast, you can go to the podcast page of the Game Sports Show at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. We have last night's broadcast there. So maybe if you're at the game or want to relive it, want to download it for the archives, we put it up there free of charge. In District 123 in Class D and Detour, was Detour defeating Mackinac Island in their opening round game by the score of 75-39. So Detour advances to the district semifinal at Detour on Wednesday, as they will take on the Pickford Panthers at 7:30. The other game has Cedarville taking on Maplewood Baptist, with the district final being Friday in Detour. How about St. Ignace? We always say on here you can be 0-20 and still win a state title. Now, I'm not going to say St. Ignace is going to win a state title, but they were 0-20 in boys basketball, and they won their opening district game at home over Newberry by the score of 45-40. So St. Ignace will advance to the district final, or no, check that. They're the district semifinal. That'll be played at St. Ignace, as they will take on Indian River Inland Lakes. The other game features Harbor Springs and Manistee. Sioux High wins their opening round game in Class B, District 64, with a 57-34 win over the Sheboygan Chiefs. Brandon Paul had 30 points to lead the Blue Devils on the night. Matt Knowles had 9, as Sioux High will be at Boyne City tomorrow night for their district semifinal, 6 p.m. Boyne City topped Menominee on Monday night by the score of 49-22. And the other semi features Kingsford hosting Gladstone. Gladstone topped Escanaba on Monday night. So that gets you up to date as far as high school basketball. Again, Brimley Bay's basketball will be tomorrow night, district final in Engadine against the Eagles. Now, if Brimley wins that game, they will advance to the regional, which will be played next Monday night in Pellston. We do know the Brimley game would be the later game at 7:30, and they'll take on the winner of the bracket, the district going on, featuring Gaylord St. Mary's and Wolverine, probably the two best teams there. And Cedarville would also be potentially in that regional semifinal, and there is a possibility that Brimley and Cedarville could meet in the regional final 1 week from tomorrow night in Pellston. But first things first, both teams have to get through their district to get to that point. Sioux High Blue Devil hockey in action last week, and well, the Blue Devils did advance to the regional final, which was played on Saturday. They got there by defeating Sheboygan last Tuesday night, a week ago tonight, by the score of 8-3. Drew Larson had a hat trick for the Sioux High Blue Devils as they won their pre-regional semifinal, and they advanced to the pre-regional final last Thursday night, taking on the Alpena Wildcats, as they say down in Alpena, a team that knocked the Blue Devils out of the playoffs last year. Well, the Blue Devils returned the favor this year, and they knocked off Alpena by the score of 3-2. Aaron Bumbaco, Aiden Armstrong, and Alec Armstrong all scored for the Sioux High Blue Devils, and freshman netminder Logan Raphael made 27 saves for Sioux High. So they advanced to the regional final, being played in Gaylord on Saturday afternoon against the Big Rapids Cardinals, coached by former Sioux resident and brother of head coach Jeff Blashill for the Detroit Red Wings, Tim Blashill. And, well, it was the Cardinals of Big Rapids defeating the Sioux High Blue Devils in overtime by the score of 4-3. Sioux High found themselves in penalty trouble in overtime. They took a couple penalties, including a late cross-check, which really cost them. And so Sioux High ends their season 27-1. And that's a pretty darn good season considering the youth that they had on the team. So a lot coming back for the Sioux High Blue Devils. A tough way to end the season. It's funny when you're listening to Tim Ellis and Clayton Ellis do the game on the Eagle. Sioux High tied the game late, I believe 50 seconds to play. And, boy, you thought in overtime, well, they got it now. They got the momentum, and boom. You get a goal, and all of a sudden your season is over. So congratulations to the Sioux High Blue Devils. It was a very good season and lots to build on going into next season. And Big Rapids gets the honor of taking on Hancock. That game will be here at the Big Bear Arena on Wednesday night. Hancock, the number one team in all the state of Michigan in Division III. Let's move on to the NOJHL. Lots going on, still lots to determine. It's hard to believe that we're down to the last two regular season games, and we still don't know in the West Division who's going to finish first or second, and we still don't know who's going to finish third or fourth. Well, let's kind of sort this out this weekend. The Eagles need to get a pair of wins, and they needed to beat Blind River in regulation to clinch third place. Well, they did get a pair of wins. However, they didn't beat Blind River in regulation. They beat them in overtime. As Friday night at Puller Stadium, Jake Palmerio's 25th goal of the season, less than a minute into overtime, secured a 3-2 win. Actually, that was last Monday. I forgot they played Blind River twice, so they knocked Blind River off 2 times in overtime. We mentioned that game last week, and then, well, the Sioux Eagles did the exact same thing at Puller Stadium on Friday night as they knocked off the Blind River Beavers in overtime by that same score, 3-2, so it was easy to mix up that one. William Casey got the game winner a minute into overtime as the Eagles got a big 2 points, but Blind River got a big point because that meant that unless the Eagles beat Elliott Lake on Saturday and Blind River lost to Espanola on Saturday, that would prevent the Eagles from clinching third, and that's exactly what happened as Blind River did beat Espanola on Saturday, but the Eagles did their end of the bargain as they defeated the Elliott Lake Wildcats on Saturday night at Pellston Stadium by the score of 3-0. Carter McPhail, who was named goaltender of the week in the NLJHL, he stopped 22 shots as the Eagles now enter their final regular season game tomorrow night at the John Rhodes Community Center. They will take on the Sioux Thunderbirds. Blind River with 70 points. The Sioux Eagles with 69. Blind River is done. They will not play another game. Their regular season is over. And so the Eagles just need to get to overtime in that game against the Thunderbirds. If they grab 1 point, they have the tiebreaker against Blind River. And that's a big point, and that's a big tiebreaker to have because it would avoid that first best-of-3 series against Elliott Lake. And if the Eagles do lose tomorrow night in regulation, they will host Game 1 of that one. It looks like that's going to be Saturday night at Pellston Stadium. Game 2 would be Sunday in Elliott Lake with the return bout, if it was to go 3 games, Wednesday night, a week from Wednesday at Pellston Stadium. But the Eagles want to avoid that. They want to get third place. They have a chance to do so against the Sioux Thunderbirds tomorrow night. The Thunderbirds in action tonight, taking on Rayside Balfour. Now, if the Thunderbirds defeat Rayside in regulation, they will clinch first place in the West Division. If they lose, then they're going to need to win that game against the Sioux Eagles. If they win in overtime, they're going to need a point. It's very complicated right now. We just know that Elliott Lake is the 5th place team, and we don't know who's going to finish first or second, and we don't know who's going to finish third or fourth. But the Thunderbirds control their own destiny for first, and the Eagles control their own destiny for third. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. And we'll have all the playoff matchups. We're actually probably going to have some playoff games as we have the game next week. Sioux Greyhounds in action this week. They keep on rolling. They win their 50th game of the season on Wednesday, defeating Saginaw by the score of 4-1 at the SR Center. Ryan Roth, Joe Carroll, Taylor Radish, and Tim Gettinger all scored for the Sioux Greyhounds. The Greyhounds kept on rolling over the weekend in a shootout on Friday night, beating the Sarnia Sting by the score of 6-5. Jack Kopaka had a pair of goals for the Hounds as Matthew Villalta made 37 saves, including all 3 in the shootout. And Sunday, it was no contest against the Windsor Spitfires as the Sioux Greyhounds improved to 52-6-2-2. Still hard to believe that's their record, but it is, as they defeat Windsor by the score of 5-2. Rasmus Sandin had a pair of goals for the Hounds. They're going to take their final regular season road trip. They're already assured number 1 in the entire OHL. They'll be at Windsor on Thursday, Kitchener on Friday, and Sunday at Owen Sound. Let's move to Laker athletics. Lots on and off the ice and court this week as the Lakers were in their quarterfinal matchup in the GLIAC, the men's basketball team, and they defeated the Grand Valley State Lakers by the score of 73-65, advancing to the GLIAC semifinals in Big Rapids. As the Lakers, well, it was a tough one, but they ended up slugging a victory out, and so that advanced them to take on Michigan Tech on Saturday. Again, that game down in Big Rapids in the GLIAC semifinal. Ferris State did win their semifinal game, and so they advanced to the final to take on the winner of Michigan Tech and the Lakers, and it was Lake State defeating the Huskies by the score of 70-56 as senior guard Akemchi Williams led the Lakers with 18 points on offense, and so that set up the rubber match against the Ferris State Bulldogs, one of the top teams in the country, a team that's lost only once during the season, and that was to Lake State. But it was Ferris coming up with a 69-61 win at home to claim the GLIAC regular season and playoff championship. However, the Lakers were not eliminated from postseason. As a matter of fact, they did get a berth as expected. They enter the region as a number 4 seed with a 24-7 record, and they will take on Hillsdale down in Big Rapids. That game will be Saturday at 8:30, and if they win that one, they'll likely play Ferris State. So they could take on Ferris State for the 4th time this season, but they're going to have to get through an old GLIAC squad, conference foe, I should say, in Hillsdale. So good luck to Coach Steve Henninga and the Laker men, including our own Lance Monroe, broadcast engineer. He's been kind of busy this week getting ready for the playoffs. Laker Athletics did make some major news here this week as they re-signed head coach Damon Witten to 4 years contract extension at the end of this current academic year. A quote from Lake State President Dr. Peter Mitchell says, "University presidents look for qualities of character more than records when assessing coaches." Quote from Dr. Mitchell, "Damon Witten is a person of great personal integrity and genuine compassion for his players. He emphasizes sportsmanship, hard work, and a commitment to excel on the ice and in the classroom. Not included in this press release, Rhett Witten's record as head coach at Lake State is 43-90-18. And athletic director David Pateson, quote, "We are very excited to continue to have Damon at the helm of Lake State hockey program. We believe Damon's leadership and dedication will help reestablish the Laker hockey program as one of the elite programs in college hockey." So Coach Damon Witten, after a pretty tough 4 years, including this year, not making the playoffs, well, he gets rewarded with 4 more years as head coach of the Hockey Lakers. Congratulations to Abby Rock. She was named WCHA Offensive Player of the Year as the Wisconsin Badgers are in their playoffs right now. And, well, Abby, no surprise, the former Sioux High standout, doing fantastic as always, pacing the Badgers in points, 35 with 9 goals and 26 assists. And so congratulations to Abby, doing great things on and off the ice. Former Laker Kyle Chatham, he is heading to the Reading Royals, the ECHL affiliate of the Philadelphia Flyers, announced this past Thursday as he graduated this past year. And another Laker also going to the pros, if you will. JT Henke signed a pro contract with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, the proud ECHL affiliate of the New York Rangers. So there is your local sports update. I think we got everything in, and we have a busy week here on Eagle 95.1. Again, tomorrow night, Brimley will take on Engadine in boys basketball. We'll be there for the call. 6:45 pregame show with the opening tip at 7. And if Brimley can win that one, then next Monday we'll be down in Pellston for the Regional Semifinal. We're looking forward to that. We're going to take a break here on the game. We come back. We're going to hear from Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports. Butch has a lot to say about what's going on in the Detroit sports scene, as well as our sports roundtable and our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. That's coming up on the game here on Eagle 95.1.
The Wicked Sister, Sioux, Michigan. Check TripAdvisor, ranked right towards the top. Awarded the Certificate of Excellence, as well as voted #1 pub in the UP. The Wicked Sister has managed to create a casual menu that offers unique, creative, and sometimes healthy offerings that rivals menu selections of any big city. Burgers and starters, snacks and shareables, soups and salads, sandwiches and tapas. On Ashman Street, Sioux, Michigan. Welcome to the Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
Thank you for tuning in to the game. Heard Monday nights from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street on Eagle 95.1. Also online at radioeaglesioux.com and the podcast page, The Game Sports Show. .podbean.com. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Now, if you want to hear more of the Twin Sioux only local, regional, and national talk show, I encourage you to visit our website at thegamesportshow.com, and you can tune into a pair of broadcasts of the Game Sports Show from Sioux, Ontario. Our co-host here on the game, Mr. Electric Avenue Dave McKegg, broadcasts the show on Wednesday night from Sports Center Bar and Grill in Sioux, Ontario, along with his regular contributors, Jamie Antonello, Justin Heichel, and Dane Hantro. They focus on football with their In the Pocket segment, talking about the NFL, along with basketball and the NBA, and other sports, including tennis, golf, soccer, and the WWE. If you like hockey, Thursday nights are for you, as the Game Sports Show is broadcasting from Boston Pizza in Sioux, Ontario, with Dave McKegg, along with his regular contributors, Justin Heichel and Dane Hantro. Now, this show focuses on hockey in the wintertime and baseball in the summer, and will include guests and interviews from local and national figures. Once again, you can hear 3 versions of the game at our website, thegamesportshow.com, or at the podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Also on the podcast page, you will find selected audio broadcasts of Sioux Eagles home games, Brimley Bay's basketball, and Sioux High Blue Devil hockey, along with game contributor Butch Davis and his broadcasts of Butch on Sports. You can also find us on YouTube. Look for the Scott Nason channel. Thank you for listening, and keep it locked here to the game for all your local, regional, and national sports talk that you just can't get enough of. Scott Nason back here on the game, and unfortunately, due to some recording malfunction, we are unable to have Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports on the podcast of the game tonight online. As well, we'll hope to get him back next week for the podcast, and you can find his sports show, Butch on Sports, on the podcast page of the game. He'll have a few additions this week, And you can find it at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. So Butch will join us next week. We'll get all the bugs fixed and hear more of the sports that you just can't get enough of. And one other note, heard from Dave McKegg over the break. He will have just one show this week. We mentioned that he might have two shows. He's going to do the show Thursday night from Boston Pizza along with Dane Hantro and newest contributor Brad Cacciamilio, as they will have a lot to say about the world of hockey. And we'll have that on the podcast page on Friday. So that's going to do it for an abbreviated edition of the game. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have Brimley Bays basketball, as the Bays will take on the Engadine Eagles in boys district final from Engadine. Yours truly and Vance Nason will have the call of that game tomorrow night around 6:45 for the pregame show, 7 o'clock tip-off. And the Brimley Bays win. We'll have an online broadcast of the game probably on Tuesday of next week. And if the Bays lose, we don't want to think about that, but if they do, then we'll have the show back at the Wicked Sister on Monday night. So that's going to do it here from our studios on Eagle 95.1. We'll talk to you next time on The Game on the Eagle.